So I had two plans on what I wanted to do for the video that I was going to upload while I was on vacation. For those of you who don't know, when I upload this, I'll be on vacation, and thus I would not be able to do videos, because I was going to bring the comics with me. I was going to review that I've already finished. It's a whole bunch of books that I need to carry around. I've already finished, and I had absolutely no reason to carry with me. So originally I was going to do the 8 comics or so that I would have finished before, like by tonight, but that would have been, I realized, a bit too late. That was cutting it too close. Then I decided to do the floppies, because instead of trying to be like the library books, being like, okay, if I read 2 Captain Marvels today, and I read 3 Walking Deads, then I'll finish this stack, only have to bring that stack. Because what I would have done is I would just replace the books that I wasn't going to bring with other books. The ones in my personal collection, whatever. Now, there is one big thing about that, and I hope that I can get these books finished, but even though it's less books than I usually have, and not too much less, it's still a good amount. It's not too much less. It's like 15 instead of 25. So, I'm kind of thinking to myself, part of me is like, well, how much time am I going to have when I'm away on vacation to actually read the comics and read them before when I go to the library next? And that's a good question, but hopefully we'll figure something out. So this video is titled, and this video is basically me reviewing just one comic, and it's me reviewing Superman Up in the Sky by Tom King, and answer the question if I think this is the best thing he has done for DC Comics. And I honestly think that this is. Now, the best thing I've read by him, and it's been a long time since I've read it, is Vision. I thought that was a phenomenal story. So overall, DC and Marvel, I have read Vision, I have read Heroes in Crisis, which is probably his worst, I have read Strange Adventures, and I have read Rorschach, and then Superman Up in the Sky. I want to say there's another one I've read by him, but I can't. Oh, and it's a Batman run. I'm currently reading his Batman run. So about 6, or 5.5, if you will. Well, 5 DC comics I've read by his, and I honestly do think this is his best DC work. I think he understands the character of Superman the best, out of all the characters he's written for, because Batman he understands probably the least. And a lot of things with Tom King, the biggest criticism is that he assassinates the characters. And what critics of Tom King's work mean by that statement is the fact that he takes characters and he does things with them that completely ruins their character. Now, I'm the kind of guy who can think of, Batman, him being super suicidal as a kid, and that weird thing there that no one likes, it was too edgy. That's a different version of Batman. That's Batman Elseworlds. That's called headcanon. Yeah, it's not actually an Elseworlds Batman story. It is supposed to be the current continuity Batman, but my headcanon says it's not the right Batman. And when James Tynion came on, or when someone other writer that was much better came on to Batman, that was a Batman I know. And then whatever happened before, that was false memories. Or it's very complicated because there are things you can't ignore, but I choose to ignore them. And in general, I don't get too tied behind that. What I get too tied behind is how interesting a book is. And both his Rorschach and Strange Adventures were a bit of a chore to get through. Now, I've read his Rorschach twice, and if you count me starting but not finishing Strange Adventures, I've read it 3 times, but that doesn't count. I had the first 4 issues in floppy form, and then I kept saying, I'm going to get the rest in floppy form, but I didn't, and I ended up getting a hardcover when it came out. And I finally read Strange Adventures not too long ago, and I was pretty damn disappointed. Even, it was kind of funny, because I remember the first time I read the first 4 issues, almost back to back. They were very intriguing. I really liked them. And I think that intrigue went away completely in my most recent reread. And my most recent read through my first time reading it. I think with a reread, I would like Strange Adventures a bit more, but I don't know. Now, I think not only does it get the character of Superman down pat, but I think it also it's a good story in general. The last 2 issues of the story, these are reprints of the Superman Giant stories, but they had a recent reprint of 6 issues. So it's a 6-issue miniseries based off of the Superman Giant. It's 6-issue miniseries. In the first 4 or so, they were it took me a bit longer to read. I know it justified, not only to justify the $4.99 price, but I could tell, I could feel each added page. The last 2 issues of this book, especially the last issue, I could not tell that at all. Like, you could tell me that the last 2 issues were actually the shortest, and I wouldn't have batted an eye. I would have believed you. And I think that the last issue is, like, it perfectly sums up, perfectly, not symbolizes, perfectly, it brings everything full circle. Like, everything that you liked about the book is present in that last issue. And I think and surprisingly enough, there's 2 parts where the little girl is talking. It's about Superman trying to save a little girl who gets captured, and one of it is from her, and one time it's from her perspective. It's kind of cringe. There's a stupid fart joke that was really annoying that could have been taken out and wouldn't have missed anything. They had that's. I know that Tom King is trying to talk to a child, and children kind of talk weird, but it almost like it's an alien trying to talk. An alien girl was narrating. That would make a lot more sense because it wasn't like, it was kind of broken English kind of talk. Like, it was very strange. That was definitely the worst part about it. And there's definitely another big criticism of Tom King's work that people give him shit for, and it rightly so, is what they call a mommy wife. And I didn't know what they meant by that until I read this book. I knew what they meant by it, but I didn't fully understand it until I read that part. There's a part in this book, and I don't think I can get to it. I didn't mark it all, so I don't think I'd be able to find it. But basically, Lois Lane is talking to Superman Clark Kent. Like, first of all, it's obvious not, doesn't even sound like Lois Lane. First of all. And second of all, the way she's talking, it's like how a mother would talk to her son. And it was very strange. And that was another part of the book that I definitely found pretty cringy. But all in all, I would give this a 9 out of 10. I would say, even if you don't like Tom King, to check this one out, and you will not be disappointed. I think it's also a fantastic Superman book, too. And it's kind of funny that I think this came out around the time, maybe even the Giants came out around the time that Bendis was writing the ongoing Superman book. So this was a nice palate cleanser. When you were reading Bendis' Superman, it was like really weird and terrible from what I've heard. I haven't read it myself, but from what I've heard. And then you get this book that completely understands the character. So, and again, this came from a guy who was extremely critical of, well, Tom King as a person, honestly. Because of how Tom King is online, how he acts as a person, it makes his work, like, every, like, little thing wrong with his work stand out even more for me. You know, not out of pessimism, more out of just the way he is, and it ruins it for you. It ruins the experience for me, at least. And it just makes, like, every, like if it was written by, say, Garth Ennis, if it's written by, say, Strange Adventures were written by Garth Ennis or Brian Azzarello, I would give it a bit of a pass. I would say, well, it's because it's not as good as, like, the Pixar effect. Now, that's what I would quote it as. But Tom King, I'd say, nope, it's just bad. And that's mostly because Brian Azzarello and Garth Ennis are my 2 favorite authors of all time. So, but still, that's my point. The point I was trying, but still, I can get the point. So to sum it all up, I think this is understands the character of Superman the best, has the best pacing, and I think that at the end there's so the other thing. There's 2, so I said there's 2 instances where the girl is part of the narration. The second one is her and Superman talking. And that I thought would be really annoying. When I saw it coming up, I was like, this is going to go for the next 5 pages at least, isn't it? And it did. And I was dreading it, but surprisingly enough, that was probably the best and most powerful part of the comic. So I would say this is definitely one to pick up. Like, and this is the softcover version. It's only $16.99. I think it's 100% worth it. Even if it's an older book and your comic shop should have it at a discount by now, I would say it's worth every penny. And that's about it. So, The next video will probably be me reviewing the floppies. I just knew I wouldn't have enough time. I was like, if I squeeze it, no, I'm not gonna do that. Because I still need to finish one of the OGNs, and because I twice now. Well, you'll see. I'll explain in the next video. Nice 10 minutes. I've got ad revenue now. I'm obviously not monetized yet, but that was a joke. I didn't end it.